Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Ricketson, and my graphic novel of choice was Black Canary and Zatanna and Bloodspell. Um, so anyway, uh, the writer is Paul Dini. Uh, Joe Quinones is the artist, and Sal Sapriano is the letterer, and publisher is DC. It's 92 pages. I'm supposed to be looking at that. It's 92 pages of actual story. The book itself is 139 pages, and that's because they did a really cool thing at the very end. They provided the actual script and early drawings, but he actually included the script at the end of it, which was pretty cool. Um, for me, it looked like Act One started on page 32, which was a splash page. Uh, no pun intended with the splash inset there, but yeah, pun was intended. um, and the last act for me ended on page 90. So it kind of went our model of a three-act structure with only the last two pages being the third act or denouement. Let's see. So anyway, it's called Black Canary and Zatanna, but for the truest sense of the story itself was about Black Canary, um, and the entire second act followed what the point of the story was, and that was to keep Black Canary from being killed by this evil ghost woman. Uh, it had a pretty good story arc. Uh, for what you consider a story arc, beginning, middle, and end. It had a pretty good. It took a while, like I said, 32 pages to get to the uh, the second act, but that's out of 92 something pages. But it set up the story pretty well with some backstory. Um, but it was there, the beginning of the story. We had what happened a year prior, and Black Canary got involved with a blood ritual thing with this gang of people, and anyway, the ringleader committed suicide, and her goal was to come back and kill each one of them, uh, in the process of getting revenge, because Black Canary, is a member of the Justice League, so she was going to stop this um, casino heist, basically what it was. Um, I didn't really get much of a story arc or a character arc for Black Canary or Zatanna. They were both pretty pretty badass. That's Black Canary on the motorcycle there. Anyway, she's trying to save one of her friends from the gang from committing suicide, or the ghost making her commit suicide. But they were superhero women, badass through the entire story, and they were pretty much that way at the end. I might give them, how they were changed at the end was maybe they became better friends. But as far as like any internal or external super big change, I didn't see that myself. Um, uh, Now the transitions for me, they were pretty pretty good. I didn't get lost in the story. I knew exactly where I was. Throughout the story, there was no, where the hell are we now? I mean, they started out and they went across country to Vegas, so there's a couple of different places that they were at, but for the most part, it was easy for me to keep track of where I was. As far as Scott McCloud's discussion of transitions and things, the thing that I saw the most would have been movement to movement and action to action. Um, and the one example, because I really liked this page, was in the beginning of the story where Black Canary is fighting with Tina. Where is that? This page right here. To me, I mean, that kind of, it looks like a splash page, but it's not really a splash page, because there's two of them in each what you would consider a panel. But for me, I mean, that's the transition of movement to movement. Even though it contains two people, and what he's talking about is generally like, one person, their movement, their action to action. Um, uh, anyway, the directional flow of the story, it was pretty good throughout. I mean, I didn't have a hard time following anything. The artwork to me was really good. Um, there weren't a lot of like traditional six panels. It was a lot of like pages like this, that didn't really have a whole lot of panels, and there was a lot of action going on. But it was easy to follow the story and flow with the story. There was no like, well, how the hell did I get from here to here? Because it was pretty straightforward that way. And I didn't really like it to begin with. My first time I read it through, because you're reading a superhero. They're in the Justice League, okay. So it wasn't a story about oh my God, we got to save the world. We got to save the world, that kind of thing. It was just how Black Canary had gotten mixed up in a dark magic, woman a year before, who's back from the dead. Everybody that participated in the blood ritual, she was coming back and causing them to commit suicide. So the whole story was about trying to save Black Canary from being the final victim, and to save the other ones that were there. So I mean, it wasn't like a traditional like superhero story. So after my second read through, I actually liked it a lot more because of that. Because it wasn't, oh my God, the world's going to end if we don't do this now. It was a fairly simple story. I would recommend it to my classmates and friends because of that. Because it, it wasn't what you would think about a superhero story. Because I mean, they're superheroes because they're in the Justice League, for crying out loud. I mean, they're members of the Justice League. Um, but anyway, like a fun fact. I don't know if I don't think I marked it on here, but anyway, in the actual script, that I said it's at the end. Paul Denny, he's describing the scene at the very beginning, which I think I marked that because I thought it was a pretty cool page anyway. In the beginning, yeah, they're showing Zatanna, in her early years of in her training of magic and stuff like that. But anyway, this part right here, Paul Denny right here, he even mentions in the script that there's many stories out there that say that Zatanna and her mother didn't meet until later in life, and he's saying, continuity be damned, this is a family affair. She's becoming, her rite of passage. So I just thought that was kind of interesting that the writer, we're taught all of this stuff to, we got to follow continuity in a story, and the writer of Bloodspell is saying, he knows he broke the rules, but to hell with that. so anyway, I really enjoyed the book, and I would definitely recommend it to my classmates or friends, because it was really good. It's been a lot of years since I've dealt with comics. I used to collect them when I was a kid. So to actually do this class and do the things that I've done with the comics is pretty interesting. So I hope you guys check it out. there is a link I believe I found where you can read this for free online. Um, I'll see if I can find that and post it. All right. Thanks for watching.